weddings are the most remarkable of occasions. For all kinds of reasons, but particularly because they take something that is so private and personal and intimate, our relationship with our significant other, we might say these days, and bring them out into the full glare of the public realm. Marriages are often the times when we ourselves, if we are married, have been most at the focus of attention of those who are our family, our friends, our support networks, our wider communities. There's a line in the United Reformed Church wedding service when we talk about the purpose of marriage, when it talks at its conclusion about marriage being for the enrichment of society and the strengthening of community. In other words, as we live out faithfully and lovingly our most intimate of relationships, we are actually expressing something that's part of the very fabric that holds our society together. Wow, that's a big calling. And I say this recognizing that as we practice it in our own society, marriage is not a perfect institution by any means. Marriages do sadly often fail. And of course, within our society, people do find other ways and frameworks in which to express their committed relationships, acknowledging all of that. But marriage, at its best, does this peculiar thing of bringing something profoundly personal and connecting it with the biggest possible of pictures. And so we're going to read from John chapter 2, the story of the wedding at Cana. I want us to listen out at the same time, firstly to those things that John tells us that are very individual and very practical about the arrangements for this particular occasion, and to hear also the big picture stuff that John also tells in this account. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that of you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now standing there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. When the steward tasted the water that had become wine and did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs, in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So first of all, just to focus on a couple of details that John tells us about the circumstances of this particular wedding. And the first of it is that it took place in Cana in Galilee. And it does seem this is a very significant point for John. He begins by telling us this is on the third day. If you count back and see what that is referring to, it does seem to be a reference that this is the third day since Jesus took the decision to go to Galilee, where he found Philip, and the call of the disciples story progresses. And Jesus went from Bethany across the Jordan, where John had been baptizing, and makes that deliberate decision to go to Galilee. So it does seem that it's significant, first of all, where this wedding is happening. And of course, at the end of the story also, John reminds us that it happened at Canaan in Galilee. Galilee, of course, a place right on the edge of Israel, a place on the boundary, on the margin of that sense of the holy people of God. And then, of course, this is a wedding at which the wine runs out. And we might remind ourselves of what a significant statement that is, because wine is not meant to run out. In a society, of course, where weddings were such a community event that everybody would have clubbed together, every family of the village would have clubbed together to make sure this was a true celebration of a union of two families. And maybe those 6 stone water jars behind the house represent 6 families, each who have provided whatever they can so that this can be a true celebration. And yet it has not been enough. Maybe that's pure poverty, that simply there is not the resource, the money, the wine to sustain a celebration. Maybe it's something about the fragmentation of the community, that there is simply not enough a shared buy-in for this to make it a successful community celebration. But this is a failed wedding because the wine has run out. So a place on the edge where a community is not able to express its community values as it might have chosen to be. What is the big picture? Nonetheless, John tells us, this is the place where Jesus gives the first sign that points to his glory. Now, glory in John is the biggest of all words in terms of pointing to significance. Glory is what we see when Jesus expresses the redemptive power of God on the cross. As he dies, his glory is revealed. Right at the beginning in John chapter 1, glory is referred to. This is the glory of God being expressed in the incarnation. And so if this is the first of the signs, this is a foretaste, a first down payment on that glory we will fully see when Jesus is crucified. This is the biggest of all possible theological words for John. And it is expressed, it is shown in a wedding at Cana in Galilee. Now that is surely a big theological signpost. That God in Jesus Christ is going to show his glory first and foremost in an impoverished community, a struggling community, right on the edge of what one might call the people of God. And one further note, it particularly strikes me as I read this story, that this Jesus showing the glory of God on the margins, how little Jesus himself actually does. I mean, one could imagine the miracle story where it's Jesus who notices that the wine has run out, that it's Jesus who goes and fills the water jars, that it's Jesus who draws the water off and takes it to the master of ceremonies and indicates to the bridegroom that all is well. But Jesus' role in this story is an almost hidden role. Jesus' only engagement really in the unfolding of the miracle is to go to the servants, the lowest, least players in this in narrative of the story. Jesus gives the servants the instructions, but it's Jesus' mother who authorizes them, the servants, to do what they do. It's the servants who fill the jars and then take the wine to the steward. And it's the steward who then announces to the bridegroom that the best wine has been saved to last. And then the disciples, presumably watching this from afar, then see Jesus' glory revealed. So for all that Jesus is bringing the transforming glory of God to bear on the situation, it's actually very much in an enabling role, enabling a community to be what it needs to be and to express its relationships as they need to be expressed. And so as we listen to this story, listen to the the small scale stuff that's going on, but actually points to the big scale story of God's redemptive power coming to the margins of society and enabling a renewing of relationships. What a wonderful picture of the way in which God's salvation works.